Okay, so let's take all of the concepts that we have so far and take a look at the big picture and how it all kind of comes together, because we did a lot. So first, we'll take a look back at our workflow. So we did pull, fetch, push, talked about staging areas and whatnot, and different branching. Now there's another git command that we didn't really cover yet, and that's git clone. Now, what is git clone in general? Git clone just copies the repository locally to your computer. So let's say I want to go and grab our repository, our bookstore, and I'm using a different account, and I want to grab the whole copy of the whole repository so I can mess with it. I would use git clone, I would have it on my computer, and then I could mess with it, add more features and whatnot. So let's do that. I'm going to go grab the URL. Then I'm going to clone it. And I'm using a different Git account now, one of my personal ones. So it's going to be under a different username. So I'll do git clone, and I'll grab the actual URL, the Git repository that I want to clone. And I will tell which folder to clone it in, and I'll call it bookstore out. And now I'll cd into bookstore out. Now I have everything, basically a copy of the repository here. So if I open it up with VS Code, everything is here. And let's say I want to go ahead and do something with it, add new features, whatnot. So go into the comics or movies and whatnot. I will go and the Avengers, Endgame. I don't remember those movies. And Avengers, what, Infinity War or something like that. Infinity War. God, I hope I'm correct. It's been a while. All right, so I have that. Let's go and I'll do git status. Git status. And I have essentially something new, right? Added to the movies. Now I'll add all. I'll add all, and I'll commit. I'll commit and I'll leave a message or something. I'll say, well, add Avengers movies. Great. So I have some changes. If I do git log, here's changes from a new account. So one of my personal ones. So not test account anymore, but a new one. So what would happen if I do git push now? Now remember, I cloned it up to a new account. So basically I took the whole repository, I cloned it under a new account, I have it locally, I did some changes. So what would happen if I do git push? Well, I guess let's find out and let's see what happens. Right, so let's kind of basically go over what's going on. It says permission denied, essentially. What's happening? Well, something predictable, right? Something predictable because we can't just modify anything we want. I used a new account and I copied the repository. The repository that was under the test account here. Now, I made some changes, right? And I want to push up some changes. Now, the upstream points to test account bookstore, but I'm pushing changes with a new account. So predictably, with the settings that I have, GitHub rejects it. It says, wait, hold on a second. This is a completely new username, completely new permission that is going on, and you're trying to push changes into our repository. You can't do that, well, predictably, right? Because what would happen if we could just clone repository and push up changes, clone repository and push up changes? Well, that would be a mess, right? Let's take a look back at our workflow. Let's say we have a repository. It could be, if it's open source, right? It will be visible to the public, essentially. And I go in, I clone that repository, I make some changes, and I push up some changes, and then those changes are now reflected into the remote repository. Well, yeah, that would be a complete mess because anybody could clone, push up changes, clone, push up changes, and whoever is maintaining the repository doesn't even know if the changes are coming in are good or not, right? So there has to be a different method to it, right? Not just clone, and there is, and that is forking. So we'll take a look at that next and how that works. And let's build on that concept of cloning and go into what does git fork actually means. And you're saying, hold on a second. Well, I see pull, fetch, push, clone, and whatnot, but I don't see this git fork command that you're talking about. And actually, git fork is not part of git. It's not actually a git command. It's more so like a workflow, a process in a way that we integrate it into our workflow. So clone will copy repository locally to computer. Fork will first make a copy of a repository on your GitHub. Then you can clone that fork locally to your computer. Then you can make some changes, push back those changes into your fork. Then you can open up a pull request to the original repository, and then whoever maintains that project can accept your changes. Actually, let's take a look at kind of like the workflow of clone versus fork. So clone, right? We have our general project here, and we have a first clone, second clone, third clone. So everybody's kind of working under the same account, essentially, or with permissions to push to that account, whatnot. And somebody makes a branch, changes something, pushes, pulls. Another person makes a branch, makes some changes, pushes the changes. Another person makes a branch, makes some changes, pushes the changes. And that's fine, as long as you completely trust the people that are making the changes, right? But what if you want more control? And you usually do want more control. Maybe you want to review the changes first. Maybe you want to essentially have like a more tight-knit control over your project. Well, that's where the fork comes in. So we have the original repo, and it can have its own clones, right? As if you're allowing immediate changes to be pushed up. But another account will fork the original repo to their own account, so to their own GitHub account. Then that person will clone it to their own local machine. Now that person will make some changes, push up those changes, but here's the key. The changes are not pushed up to the original project, but to that person's fork. Then from that fork, that person can open up what's called a pull request to the main project. And whoever's maintaining the main project, whatnot, will review those changes and decide whether they want to merge up and accept those changes. So that's a mouthful, right? So let's take a look how actually it works with an example. Okie dokie, so now I'm going to be using two different accounts. This might get a little messy, but let's see. I'll go slow. So this is the original repository, the test account. I want to fork it into one of my personal GitHub accounts. Now, I can't fork it here, right? Because I can't make a fork in the original repository. That wouldn't make sense. So I'm going to use one of my personal accounts, and let's switch this to the dark mode. just so we can see the difference. Let's throw that here. And let's throw this here. So this is the original account. This is my personal account. One of my personal accounts. So from that personal account, I want to fork the repository. Basically, take whatever is here and have it on my personal account. So I went into this repository. It's public, so I can see it, right? Anybody can see it. And now I will fork it. I'll go and say create a new fork. And now I'll have to give it a repository name. It could be bookstore, right? This is a completely different account, right? So I'll say bookstore example fork. Here I'll have a couple options. So this says copy the main branch only. Well, I want to copy all the branches, so I'll go with that. And I'll create a fork. Now, this is forking it. Might take a second. Okie dokie. Now I have a forked copy of the original from this account on my personal account. So if I refresh this here, the original shows that, no, there you go. There is an existing fork. It's gonna take a second to update, but somebody forked it. And there's a contributor here. From here, I can clone it now to my personal machine, essentially to my local machine. So next step, right? Kind of like what we did before. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. Copy, and I'm going to go to, I'm gonna start moving these things away. Move these things away. Move these things away. I'll go and say, I'll jump out of this original clone, not a fork, clear this up, and I'll say git clone, and I will clone the bookstore. Now, notice I'm cloning now not from the original repository, but from my personal account from that forked copy, and I'll say bookstore fork clone. And I'll cd into bookstore fork clone. Okay, so now that we have that, we forked into our GitHub, and then we cloned to our local machine. So let's take a look at what's going on and where the different upstreams are pointing to. So what happens if I do git remote, wait. So now it says, okay, anytime I make push changes, it's going to go to my personal account and push those changes there. Now it would be nice to set the upstream remote, essentially, so I have two links. Whenever I push changes, it will go to my personal account. But if I want to grab any changes, any new changes that are going on with the original repository, right? I can grab those original changes. And what do I mean by that? Let's take a look at this clone versus fork, right? So when I push changes, it will go to my local forked repo. But whenever I want to grab anything, all of the other people that are working on this, their changes, I wanted to grab it from the original project repo. So how do I do that? Well, I can do it with git remote add upstream, and this will have to point to the original repository from which the fork happened. And now I need to find that, and I need to find that in, there we go. This is the original repository from where the fork happened. So after that, I just press enter. Now if I do git remote -v again, now I have a couple of things. So my origin, whenever I push changes, will go to my personal account to that forked copy. Now the upstream branch, if I want to grab the latest changes, is now pointing to the original repo. Okay, so the forked clone seems to have worked, right? So now what happens, let's say if I want to make some changes, right? I want to make some changes and then I want to save those changes and I want to contribute those changes to the original project, essentially. So let's see, how do I do that next? So now that we have everything set up, let's now simulate basically a complete workflow from start to finish, taking all of these concepts, bringing all these concepts together. Okay, so I have everything set up. I'll open up my code editor. Let's jump into here. Let's clear this up. And how many code editors do I have here? All right, one more time. Open up the code editor. Now let's say I want to add classic movies. So we have some movies, everything and whatnot, but I want to add classic movies. So I'm going to then git status, just make sure nothing is messed up, nothing needs to be changed. I'll make a new branch. Git checkout -b, and I'll say classic movies. Now remember, I'm working on their personal account now. I'm not touching the original whatever bookstore repo. Clear this up. Let's do git branch. Okay, classic movies. We made the classic movies branch. And then this is reflected in our VS Code editor. Let's then do classics. Classics.txt. Let's add a couple of things. Citizen Kane. 12 angry men to kill a mockingbird. The Matrix. Yeah, The Matrix came out 26 years ago. It's a classic by now. Okay, so what do we do now? Well, let's go and say git status. We have a new file. We have a new untracked file, so we'll add it. We can either do git add -- all, or we can do this specific file. I'll do -- all, and I'll do a commit. The commit will say proposed classic, or propose, keeping everything in the present tense. Propose classic movies library. Okay, great. Now I'll do git push origin classic movies. Origin classic movies. So I'm pushing this branch here. All right. So the classic movies branch went there. But where did it go? Did it go to the original account? No. Let's grab these accounts. And let's grab these accounts here. Now, this is the original one, right? The one we forked from. There's nothing here just yet. Check out the branches. Main, comics, profiles, whatnot. Here, we do have another branch. Let's take a look here. We do have this classic movies branch. This is the fork of the original. Just going slow so we can completely understand it, right? So we are at this stage. I made some changes, pushed the changes to the forked repo. Now we need to open up a pull request and let our, let's say, whoever's managing the whole project know that, hey, I made some changes to our project and I want to, well, can you review the changes? Do you like them? Do you like those changes? And if you like those changes, accept them into the project. So what I do is open up a pull request in my account. So we'll treat this original one as kind of like the project account now. So it says Classic Movies has recent pushes 30 seconds ago. So I'll do compare and pull request. All right. So I'm saying, hey, take this here. So I'm proposing a Classic Movies library and I'm sending it to the original repository. And I can add a description. And I'll say, hey, team lead, here's the Classic Movies proposal. Take a look at it and merge into the project if you like it. And I'll create a pull request. Bam. Now, if I refresh this, this is our, let's say like our main, we shouldn't say main, but like our original, where our the whole project sits, right? Let me refresh here. And now I have a pull request here. I'll open this up here. And we have something, right? Propose Classic Movies library. So the team lead, whoever, can open this up and say, hey, there's something new here. Okay. Hey, team lead, here's the Classic Movies proposal. Take a look and merge into the project if you like it. The team lead can take a look. Oh, classics at TXT, Citizen Kane, 12 Angry Men, To Kill a Mockingbird, and The Matrix. Great. They can check out the commits and whatnot. They can take a look at the changes. So let's go back to the conversation. Okay. Nothing is conflicting. So I can then merge the pull request essentially as a team lead. I can then say, okay, fine. Or let's say I can comment it, I can reject it, but I'll say, okay, thanks, will do, and add it. Confirm merge. So this is authorized by the original account. I'll confirm merge. Great. See, this is automatically updated. GitHub is evolving. That's pretty cool. Now if I go back to the code, now I have classics in the main. So this happened 5 minutes ago, and on my, let's say, personal account from which I'm working on, now I have a message that our team lead has taken that and merged it together. So that's it. That's kind of like the complete workflow. Now there's a lot of more things where with different branching and whatnot. So be sure to check out any of the additional ones in our additional materials section. But for now, this is basically Git fundamentals and Git basics.